I'm Jen West, professional rebel of delight.
And I'm Dave Wiesdock, sage of creative scaffolding.
And this is shadow casting. It's Quotecast Day, Dave. I love Quotecast Dave.
I love Quote Day.
It's my favorite. I know I say it at the beginning of almost every quote that I start our conversation, but I can't help it. They're so fun.
Well, I see Quote Day like, what are those things called at Panera? I don't know if they sell them anymore, but the muffin tops.
Oh.
You know, it's the best part of the muffin. It's not the stuff underneath. It's just the literal muffin top part. That's what the quotes are to me. They're the best part of the muffin.
That's a good example. I haven't had a muffin top in a long time.
Oh,
So, yeah.
I don't know if do you remember those from Panera Bread though?
I do. I know the little, they're like donut holes.
Yeah. They're so small they don't count.
No calories. No calories in a donut hole.
Nope. They taste the best and there's no calories. That's our quotes. They taste the best and there's no calories.
Yeah. So for our audience, that's truth. You can take it to the bank.
Non-refundable, non-transferable, not actual cash value.
Only our opinion. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. What quote do we have today for Quote Day?
Okay. Our quote today is really short and sweet. And it's, listen carefully. We are never prepared for what we expect. Wow. Let me say it one more time. We are never prepared for what we expect. And this is by James A. Michener.
I'm going to be honest. I wasn't prepared for how short the quote was.
I know. I could say it 3 or 4 times if we wanted to. Yeah. But what really caught me is being prepared and expect. I mean, because we expect it, so we should be prepared for it. And so that one, it made me laugh when I read it the first time.
Well, let me entertain you with this idea. I see it as a two-way street. Both when we set expectations, it never shows up how we imagine. That's a very cliche way of looking at it. If I want more money, it shows up in different ways. Like I just imagine a windfall of cash, but sometimes it comes from different sources and we get a little raise here or there, we come into a little money or we have a little extra in savings. And so the way that I read it in that light is we can set our intentions and our attention to things that we want in life, but it's not always going to show up how we imagine it. The other way that I look at that is that sometimes we set expectations for what we imagine something to be. And when it shows up, it isn't that way or in that light, then we feel unprepared. We feel caught off guard. And sometimes our egos might get a little bruised.
Poor little ego. Yeah. And the way I was thinking about it is from the standpoint of worry and anxiety. You know, there are all these things that we think are coming and we plan for them so that the worst won't happen. And if that thing happened and you worried about it, you're still not ready for dealing with it. You actually just suffered all the way to the point where now you actually have to deal with it.
Wow. So are you saying that maybe we need to step into something like personal responsibility in order to know what our expectations are?
That or stop worrying because it doesn't help anything ever.
I like that. You get one, I like it.
Yay. Unlike our one where we debated, we can just like each other's stuff.
Yeah, great. It's very clever.
But yeah, for this one, I think the main thing to get out of it is how much thought are you putting into something that's still not going to be exactly, you could think about it as much as you want. And stuff is never going to turn out exactly as you want it to. And so how much effort and energy are you putting into something instead of being in the present, in the moment with what's actually happening? That would be my biggest takeaway from this quote, is to get more in your life instead of trying to prepare for every possibility that could happen so that you're not caught off guard.
You know, I have a really fun story for this.
Okay.
And I think it highlights the point in a little bit of a fun way and light. However, I want to caveat this with, obviously, we're talking more internal work and there is a deep sense of clarity within our expectation. However, a fun way I think of looking at this is when movies come out, especially ones that we are looking forward to. When we set the expectation of what we want that movie to be, what we imagine the characters are going to say, especially like if it's a adaptation from a book that we love and read. One of a great example is I read the Harry Potter books before they were ever movies. And so in my head, I had all these ideas of what characters sounded like, looked like, talked like, did like. And then you go and see the movie, and the characters don't really resonate with the way that you imagined them. And in the play of life, I think that's how that works too. We have expectations for the roles people are going to play in our lives, for the roles we're going to play. And when we set those expectations and then the play doesn't go the way that we thought, the movie doesn't end the way that we were expecting, we feel unprepared or we feel a little jaded by the situation. And so, just like when we go to a movie with no expectations and we can just enjoy the ride that's happening before us, and we have space from that movie, I think that's what we take into life as the analogy. When we can move through life as not that you don't participate in life, but when you can have the space within as if life is a movie and you just allow people to be the roles that they're going to be without setting expectations on that, that's what's going to open you up to things showing up how you quote unquote expect them to.
Yeah. If you have no expectations, then they're met.
Yes.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Especially with the movie analogy. Spot on. I can't do any better than that. Maybe that's all we have to say on this one.
That's all that came to mind for me. So, for our audience, we'd encourage you to take some time this week and maybe find an expectation that you're a little aware of or that you're more curious about and dig into that. I find expectations all over the place and realizing that this week just spend time trying to find an expectation that maybe comes up from within you, something that pokes at you in a different way, and just get curious about it. You don't have to act on it or make any changes with it, but that attention brought to an expectation with a little curiosity and delight is what's going to open you up to feeling more prepared for what life has for you.
Yeah. Then you'll start to notice how many expectations you have.
Yes. So wherever you're listening, make sure to drop us a like or subscribe. Make sure to follow us, share our podcast, leave us a comment. Let us know where your expectations are. And until next time.
See ya.